Helen Keller was an American author, political activist and campaigner for deaf and blind charities. Helen became deaf and blind as a young child and had to struggle to overcome her dual disability, however. She became the first deaf-blind person to attain a bachelor's degree and became an influential campaigner for social, political and disability issues. Her public profile helped destigmatize blindness and deafness. And she was seen as a powerful example of someone overcoming difficult circumstances. Helen Keller was born June 27, 1880 in Tuscumbia, Alabama. When she was only 19 months old, she experienced a severe childhood illness, which left her deaf and blind, only a very partial sight. For the first few years of her life, she was only able to communicate with her family through a rudimentary number of signs. She had a little more success communicating with the 6-year-old daughter of the family cook, however, unable to communicate properly. She was considered to be badly behaved, for example, eating from the plates of anyone on the table with her fingers. In 1886, Helen was sent to see an eye, ear and nose specialist in Baltimore. He put them in touch with Alexander Graham Bell, who was currently investigate issues of deafness and sound. He would also develop the first telephone. Bell was moved by the experience of working with Keller, writing that, "I feel that in this child I have seen more of the divine than has been manifest in anyone I ever met before." Alexander Bell helped Keller to visit the Perkins Institute for the Blind, and this led to a long relationship with Anne Sullivan, who was a former student herself. Sullivan was visually impaired and, aged only 20, and with no prior experience, she set about teaching Helen how to communicate. The two maintained a long relationship of 49 years. In the beginning, Keller was frustrated by her inability to pick up the hand signals that Sullivan was giving. However, after a frustrating month, Keller picked up on Sullivan's system of hand signals through understanding the word water. Sullivan poured water over Keller's left hand and wrote out on her right hand the word water. This helped Helen to fully understand the system, and she was soon able to identify a variety of household objects. Keller made rapid progress and quickly overcame her bad habits. She became proficient in Braille and was able to begin a fruitful education. Despite her disability, Keller made more progress than anyone expected. She would later learn to write with a Braille typewriter. Keller came into contact with American author Mark Twain. Twain admired the perseverance of Keller and helped persuade Henry Rogers, an oil businessman, to fund her education. With great difficulty, Keller was able to study at Radcliffe College, where in 1904, she was able to graduate with a Bachelor of Arts degree. During her education, she also learned to speak and practice lip reading. Her sense of touch became extremely subtle. She also found that deafness and blindness encouraged her to develop wisdom and understanding from beyond the senses. Keller became a proficient writer and speaker. In 1903, she published an autobiography, The Story of My Life. It recounted her struggles to overcome her disabilities and the way it forced her to look at life from a different perspective. Keller also wrote on political issues. Keller was a staunch supporter of the American Socialist Party and joined the party in 1909. She wished to see a fairer distribution of income, and an end to the inequality of capitalist society. She said she became a more convinced socialist after the 1912 miners' strike. Her book, Out of the Dark, includes several essays on socialism. She supported Eugene V. Debs in each of the presidential elections he stood for. In 1912, she joined the Industrial Workers of the World, as well as advocating socialism. Keller was a pacifist and opposed the American involvement in World War I. From 1918, she devoted much of her time to raising funds and awareness for blind charities. She sought to raise money and also improve the living conditions of the blind, who at the time were often badly educated and living in asylums. Her public profile helped to destigmatize blindness and deafness. She was also noted for her optimism, which she sought to cultivate. Towards the end of her life, she suffered a stroke, and she died in her sleep on June 1, 1968. She was given numerous awards during her life, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1964, by Lyndon B. Johnson.